So you mentioned Fast Forward before, and there are, a couple of different locations, but also a couple of different iterations, if you will, or programs within Fast Forward. Can you elaborate on that? And then, let's follow that with where does it fit in the Baltimore City sort of ecosystem and community of, vibrant co-working spaces, which obviously we're in, but also in technology startup land. So talk about both of those things.
So Johns Hopkins Tech Ventures is the overall parent or umbrella organization for all of this work. Within Tech Ventures, we have Fast Forward, which is our suite of resources and support for startups. Within Fast Forward, there are a number of spaces. So we're in one, Fast Forward at 1812 Ashland, which we have wet lab space, co-working, private office space, for startups that are based on Hopkins technology or come from other places. We also recently opened Fast Forward Our House, which is on the second floor of Our House in Remington, which is a similar space with labs and co-working space for startups. The work that I'm working on currently with Fast Forward U is the work that focuses exclusively on supporting student entrepreneurship. So this includes a lot of the programming that I described
And that's
earlier.
Also across all campuses,
Yes,
correct?
So it's for all students at Hopkins, from freshmen to postdocs, all 9 schools within the university. And so within Fast Forward U, we have programming, and then we also have space as well. So across the street from here, we have Fast Forward U East, which is in the Rangos building. At Homewood, we have a temporary space for students there in the Wyman Park building, and we're currently working to build out a permanent space next to Our House. So it's a mix of spaces, which are great, where people can co-locate and work and actually get the work done of starting something. But then it's also equally important is the services and bringing in speakers, bringing in mentors, having folks like myself, Megan Waller, Jorge Aquino, others on our team that folks can go to and get that insight and guidance as they're working.
Really impressive stuff. And we would be remiss if we didn't mention your fearless leader, Christy Weiskel.
Absolutely.
Really, all of this in a very relatively short period of time coming on board as a result of her leadership and vision.
Yes, absolutely.
So, great. So let's talk about something that for me is near and dear to home because Baltimore is home, but Baltimore itself, what challenges are you facing? I mean, are they a direct result of being in Baltimore, or are they just simply the challenges that we know every startup faces?
Yeah, I think there are definitely challenges, and I think part of it has to do with just any startup ecosystem, and then some of them may have to do with Baltimore. I often talk to entrepreneurs who are doing work in this city, and sometimes they may talk about some of the challenges, and I always like to think of them or to reframe them as opportunities, because if you're a social entrepreneur anywhere in this country, I mean, what better place to do the work of trying to impact and improve lives than here? I mean, you have a number of great resources like Social Innovation Lab is just one of many opportunities. And then we have a lot of community groups, nonprofits, city agencies that are working to confront a lot of challenges that we have in this city and in many other cities. So I think this is a great place for people who want to build organizations that tackle social issues. I think a lot of what we see here are things that we see other places. I mean, unless you're maybe a Boston, San Francisco, or New York, or even maybe DC, it may be a challenge to stand out sometimes or recruit people to move here or to stay here once they are here. So we at Fast Forward and at Hopkins and Fast Forward U, Social Innovation Lab, all of these groups, we are always thinking about not only how can we get people to come to Baltimore, but when we have them here either as students at our university or through some other mechanism, how do we get them to stay here?
Right.
So how do we create this vibrant ecosystem where they can get the support they need, whether through programs at ETC or at Fast Forward? How do they get the funding to stay here? Can they have affordable, flexible office space to move into as their team grows? All those sorts of things are things that we have to think about. And I don't think it's unique to Baltimore.
Right. I love the way you reframed that, though, that it really was a city that is full of opportunity.
Sure.
And especially in the social innovation space where you're very active.
Absolutely. I mean, even coming from DC with the previous work that I did, I mean, I even will tell some of the entrepreneurs, here, if you want to get a meeting with someone who's leading some kind of effort in the community, if you want to meet with Sarah at Thread or someone from her team
You're
and talk about mentoring
one degree of
with
separation from anybody you need to meet.
You can get on the phone, you can email, you can ask me for an introduction, and I think that's great. We, like our neighbor in residence, she made connections for some of our startups to meet with city government agency directors. And I mean, if you were in another city like DC or New York, would that happen as easily? I don't think so. So I think here, it's much easier to make those connections in order to move forward whatever you're working on.